If the goal of the management is to maximize the value of the firm, then the criteria they should follow is net present value. For a project, the net present value is the discounted value of all the cash the project will produce minus the discounted value of all the costs. Discounted revenues, discounted costs. So if the NPV is positive, it means that discounted revenues exceed discounted costs. So the project is producing more money than it is consuming. If NPV is negative, it would mean that discounted costs exceed discounted revenues. Now, why discounting? Again, the issue is time value of money. Let's say you have investments that you are making, money that you are spending in the US, and revenues that you are obtaining in Brazil. You would like to bring all your money to US to make a comparison. Similarly, for a project which has money coming in at different points in time, you would like to bring all the money to one point in time to make the comparison between costs and revenues. So that is what NPV is. It is the present, so every cash flow is brought to the present, all revenues and all costs are brought to the present, net, because it is revenues minus costs. Revenues, net, costs. And the value, so net present value tells you that if it is positive, the present value of discounted revenues exceed the present value of discounted cost, so it is a good project to do. If it is negative, discounted costs exceed discounted revenues, so you should not do that project. So here is our very first question with NPV. You are setting up a franchise. The initial outlay is $1,100. Your required rate of return is 10%. Your revenues for the first year will be $1,000, second year $2,000, and third year $2,500. Your expenses $1,000, $1,500, and $1,000. The question asks what will be the NPV of this project. So you will have, for the first year, your net cash flow will be 1,000 minus 1,000, that will be 0. For the second year, you'll have a positive $500 cash flow, which you must discount back 2 periods to get its present value. So 1.10 square. For the third year, your cash flows are going to be $1,500 to be discounted by 3 periods. And after that, this franchise disappears, there are no more cash flows. So these are all the discounted values of your revenues minus the discounted value of cost. Now your cost is incurred today itself, so there is no discounting to be done. You just simply take it out. So that will be minus 1,100, and this adds up to $440.16. So what is this number? This number is the amount by which the discounted revenues exceed discounted costs. It is as if you walked out of your door and you found $440.16 lying on the ground, so you'll naturally pick it up. You're not going to leave it lying there. If you do not do this project, it is as if you saw this money lying on the street, but you did not pick it up. This project is worth $440.16. That's the amount, extra amount, which it will pay you compared to what it will cost you. And all the cash flows have been brought to the same currency, which is today's currency. In this question, we have to find the NPV for a project that provides annual cash flows of $500 for 10 years, and it costs $2,000 today. The required rate of return is 8% per annum. The second part of the question says that if the required rate is 25% per annum, what could be the NPV? And the last part asks, what discount rate will give us 0 NPV? So if the rate is 8% required, then your NPV will be the annuity value of the $500 cash flows. So that will be 500 divided by 0.08 into 1 minus 1 upon 1.08 to the power 10, because they are 10 years, minus the cost of the project, which is 2,000, and this gives a net present value of 1,366 and 39 cents. So the firm should do this project. The value of this project is 1,366.39, and it is going to increase the value of the firm by this amount. What if the discount rate was 25%? If the discount rate is 25%, then the NPV will be reduced, because now the annuity value of this cash flow is going to go down. The annuity value will now be 500 divided by 0.25, 1 minus 1.25 to the power 10, minus the cost. Now this cost remains unchanged because this is today, so the change in rate of discount does not make a difference because the cost is incurred today itself. And this equals minus 214 and 75 cents. So this turns out to be a negative NPV project, and this project should not be done if the rate of discount is 25%. What rate would this project produce 0 NPV? Now you solve by setting the NPV to be 0, which would equal the discounted value of the cash flows, 500 by R, where R is the rate of discount to produce a 0 NPV, 1 minus 1 plus R to the power 10 minus 2,000. So you can solve this by iteration or by using your financial calculator. The answer turns out to be that R has to be 21.41%. If the discount rate is 21.41, the firm would be indifferent to doing this project, as it would neither produce value nor result in a loss of value.